सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। ॐ श्री हयग्रीवाय नमः। ॐ श्री वल्लभा समेत श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। So we are still in the topic of samvidah Atmatva-upapattih. This topic, almost, I think we'll end it today finally, because it's a very big topic and it's going on still, because the Vishishtadvaitins consider the samvid to be separate from Atma, because for them Atma or Paramatma has both Chit and Achit as Visheshanas, correct? So, but we are talking about Atma as Samvid Swarupa or Chit Swarupa. So there is a certain difference is still there. Okay.
In progress.
So the last argument which we were seeing is here, correct? Nanu vanher dahakatva sattvat tat samparkena ayasaha dahakatvam bhavati samvidah tu jnatritva abhavat katham tat samparkena api ahankarasya jnatritvam. So one of the arguments we are saying is that ahankara is jada by itself, but it becomes a jnata because of chit sambandha. Now, for that, if you give the tapta ayaf pindaha, correct, the red hot iron as an analogy, in that analogy also they are trying to poke into that and say there is a defect. Why? Because fire already has the nature of burning. So when the iron, whatever iron, red hot iron, whatever we are saying, iron ball comes into contact with fire, that iron ball can burn you, because fire already has the dharma of burning, correct? But here you are saying samvit is not jnata, ahankara also is not jnata. Both are not jnata, correct? Ahankara is jada, samvit is samvit. But when they come together, jnatritvam comes, you are saying, how is it possible? Means here then again we are saying somewhat like the Charvaka argument, where they say that even consciousness itself, or even modern scientist argument also is similar, correct? They are all Charvakas only in one way, that they say that you bring beetle nut and beetle leaf and lime and all that and mix it, then it becomes red, correct? None of them are red like that before, but redness is produced. Our modern scientists are saying some chemical and electrical operations are happening in brain, and that produces consciousness, something like that. So here we are saying Surya Tejasoho Dagdritva Abhavepi Tat Samparkad Darpana Visheshasya Dagdritva Sadbhava Darshana. So what we are saying, the light from the sun itself cannot burn anything. The lens or even the mirror itself cannot burn anything, but the light which is reflected through the lens can burn something, because it is concentrating that sunlight, correct? So something like that. Here we have to say ahankara by itself is not a jnata. Samvit also, the chaitanyam also is not a jnata. But when they come together, jnatritvam is there, we have to say. So this is not a dosha. We can say that. But once we say this, there is another argument is what? How can you say that samvit and ahankara can come together? Because this atma is asanga. Asango hi ayam purushaha. All this is there. How can there be any sanga or connection between the two coming together and all that means we say, okay, there is no real sambandha, but there is adhyasika samsarga or sambandha is there. Correct? The connection is superimposed. Connection is there, or connection in terms of superimposition. There is only an adhyasika samsarga that we accept. Or the other way, if we say is what this the jadatvam, even though ahankara is jada, but it still reveals the presence of Chaitanya. In that way, the Chaitanya becomes the knower also. The Jnatritvam is there for Chaitanya because through that only one knows other things also and one knows oneself, we have to say. So, Chid Abhivyanjakatva Kritam Jadatvam is there. Even though the Jadatvam is there, but it still has Chid Abhivyanjaka, Abhivanjakatva is there in that. Okay. How can we say means because ahankara is where even the experience, whatever the anubhutehe abhivyanjakaha san swatmastham eva anubhutim abhivyanakti darpanavaditi. So what we are saying, this ahankara becomes the one which also manifests the anubhuti or experience or chaitanyam, okay, awareness. And in that process, so that awareness is manifest only in the ahankara. And by that, by manifesting it there, like even the mirror manifests light, in that process, the mirror also reveals the light, correct? Like that, ahankara also manifests the anubhuti or samvid, and in the process, it reveals that the presence of that also. Like this, we can say there is no dosha in this. Okay, either you say it is adhyasika sambandha, and because of that, still due to the sambandha it can happen, or you are saying because it is the one which manifests it and makes it revealed in the process. Okay, so once we say this, another objection is coming. What is that? Nacha swayam jyotishaha atmanaha samvid rupasya abhivyangyatvam na sambhavati. So you are saying Atma is Swayam Jyotish. Okay, Swayam Jyoti, Swayam Jyotir Brahmanam is there in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is Swayam Jyotihi. So being the one which is Swayam Jyoti, how can it be revealed by something else? Abhivyangyatvam cannot be there for this Atma which is Swayam Jyoti. So Abhivyangyatvam na sambhavati. First point. Then what? Jadasya cha ahankarasya abhivyanjakatva shaktihi nasti. Further what? Ahankara you are saying is jada, chit is swayam jyotihi. But the roles you are making it ulta, no? Correct? You are reversing the roles. You are saying, but the swayam jyoti atma is being revealed, you are saying. And the jada ahankara is the revealer, you are saying. How is this possible? So this abhivyanjakatva shakti, whatever the power to reveal is not there in the ahankara, is saying. And the swayam jyoti atma can never become revealed. And in fact, what is the reality is saying? Swayam jyotishahi atmana sarve padarthaha anatmanaha abhivyanjanta iti vachyam. Okay. Iti na vachyam. Na you have to take the first na with this vachyam. But anyway, what he is saying, only through the Swayam Jyoti Atma, everything is revealed by that alone, correct? All the Anatma is revealed by the Swayam Jyoti Atma. Therefore, how can you say whatever you are saying means this objection is not valid? Why? Why we are saying this? Na idam ahankarasya chid abhivyanjakatvam chid avabhasakatvam. Okay, what we are saying is this ahankara is manifesting the Chaitanya, that we are calling it as it is in the process revealing, but that doesn't mean that it is really revealing it as an object or anything. Correct? It is not really avabhasakatva. This ahankara is not lighting up the Chaitanya or anything. Okay. Chit alone is lighting up everything. Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. There is no doubt in that. But then how do we say that abhivanjakatvam or the whatever the ahankara can be a revealer? Okay, means we are saying kintu chit pratipalana grahatvam. That is because the chaitanya is this pratipalanam means reflected, you can say, or manifested. In the very process of manifesting the chaitanyam, it is revealing. It is not that it is shining some light on. See, the sun itself is bright. You don't have to shine a torch or anything on that, correct? But the funny thing is, see, even modern science, what we understand, actually, if the light is traveling in a vacuum, you cannot see it. Okay? Because light rays can still travel. They are electromagnetic rays. They don't require any medium. They can travel in a vacuum, but you cannot see it. Then how are we seeing all these light rays for us? Means unless there is some atmosphere and some whatever dust particles and other things in the atmosphere, you cannot see even sun rays. The sun rays which we are seeing is purely because there is abhivyanjaka is there. The dust particles and whatever other ions and atoms which are there, they are the ones which are making the light rays visible to us. Yeah, otherwise you cannot see the light rays even in a vacuum. So like that, that doesn't mean that the whatever particles which are there are actually lighting up the sun or anything, or lighting up the light itself. Light is brightness. That is its nature. But it may not be always manifest. So that's why it is manifesting it. Chit pratipalana grahatvam only is what we are talking about, not chit avabhasakatvam we say. So in that manner there is no dosha. So ahankaraha hi स्वच्छद्रव्यत्वात् स चित् प्रतिफलनम सच्चिता सामान्येन प्रकाशितमेव तं तं विषयं विषयाकारेण प्रकाशयति तत्तदाकार वृत्त्या. Okay, so what we are saying is what ahankara is swachadravya, means it is made up of the sattva amsha of all the mahabhutas. So that's why the another name for ahankara or antakarana is sattva, correct? Sattva shuddhihi and all that we say. So it is made up of the sattva guna, and therefore it is swachadravya. It is very, very pure that way. And because of that purity, it is able to manifest this consciousness. Okay. But when you manifest that, through that only, then the Vishesha Akara, anything you can know as this object, particular object, the object also is nothing but Chaitanyam only. See, everywhere the Sat aspect is there. Anything which you know as Sat, Sat, Sat is all Chaitanyam only. In fact, but the Sat Chit, only when it is there, the Vishesha Akara is there. Okay. So, through the Sat Chit only, see, everything is we are knowing. Sadbuddhi it is called. The Sadbuddhi never goes away in any cognition. Everything you have to know as is only. Even abhava you have to know as is. That is the funny thing, correct? That's why I think Bhashyakara doesn't accept any abhava. Any specific abhava, you have to say abhava is there somewhere, correct? On a locus. So even the abhava is only you have to say. So everything is known, and when you know it, the sadbuddhi is always there, but satchit is there. When a particular thing is known, that consciousness of that object is there, we are saying, correct? In any cognition, a particular object consciousness is there, means that satchit both are there. But for a particular object consciousness to be there, you require the manovritti, correct? Without that, you cannot know. So, tam tam vishayam vishayakarena prakashayati. For it to be known as a particular Vishaya, that Chit Pratipalanam is required. Okay, the Chaitanya has to manifest in the Ahankara, and Ahankara becomes the Pramata really. See, when we say there is only one Antakarana, but it is having two roles, you have to understand. The Ahankara or Pramata is called the Chaitanya only is appearing as Ahankara, but the Upadhi for that is the Antakarana itself, the entire Antakarana, or sometimes we even say that it is Antarmukha, whatever, this Ahankara turned on itself as Atma. That is the Ahankara. The Antakarana turned inward towards Atma is the Ahankara. The Antakarana which is going towards the object and takes the form of the object is the Antakarana Vritti. Correct? That can be called Manas in general, because mind is the one which goes out and takes the form of the object and all, we say like that. But it is all Antakarana only. One is called Ahankara, another is called Manas, you can say. When it is Bahirmukha, it is mind. So, the Ahankara is the one which becomes the Jnata and specifically reveals an object. And whenever an object is revealed, both the Sad and Chit both have to be there. Correct? Consciousness is, we have to say, in every cognition, some object consciousness is. And finally, what we have to understand, that consciousness is the invariable in every cognition. Okay, it never goes away. And that is what one has to recognize. That is the Pratibodha Viditam Matam, Upanishad says. And that consciousness is alone is invariable and unchanging reality, which is Satyam, which is not separate from yourself. That is what has to be known in each and every cognition. Instead, everybody is focusing only on the object. Correct? Object comes and goes. It is all mithya. There is no point in knowing. Of course, up to a level, objective knowledge is useful in the Vyavahara. But unless you know yourself, what is the point in collecting more and more objective knowledge? It's useless actually that way. It doesn't help you to come out of your samsara. So one has to know oneself in this manner, but not as an object. That is the beauty, correct? You can never objectify yourself. So you are not, this Antakarana is not shining a light on the Atma or anything like that. That is why we say that it is not Chid Avabhasaka, but it is only Chid Pratipalana is there, and in that process, it becomes revealed. Anyway, so this is how we are talking about it. Whatever is Samanya, that is Vishesha Akarena. If it has to be known, then the Antakarana is required, the Ahankara is required, Manas is required. All these things are required. Then only you can know something as a specific object. Okay. Therefore, what? Yadepi evam Atmakara Vritya Atmanamapi avabhasayati sabhasa ahankaraha iti tasya chidavabhasakatvam sambhavati tathapi avaraka jnana nashakatvam eva ahankarasya natu chidbhasakatvam swataha eva chitaha bhasamanatvat. Okay, further what we are saying, if we say this, they can object, correct? Then how are you saying that Atma Jnanam takes place? Atma Jnana also we talk about Akandakara Vritti and all that. So there is a Ahankara Vritti which reveals the Atma. That way, or the Atma in its true nature, we have to say, correct? Ahankara is there for everybody. Everybody, if you ask them who are you and all that, they will say something, I am so and so, means that some idea of I is there with everybody. That is fine. Further, what do we say? But you have to have Atma Jnanam, because whatever idea you have about yourself, the self-identity is not correct. You have to arrive at a proper self-identity based on Vedanta Vichara and all that. That means Atma Jnanam is taking place, and that Atma Jnanam only is revealing the Atma. So in that manner, the Ahankara becomes the Jnata of the Atma also. Okay, but even that, how do we explain that? Means this Atma is known as it is in the Ahankara only. Manasa eva idam aptavyam, manasa eva anudrashtavyam, and all is there in the Shruti also. But there also, what do we say? There is a Akhandakara vritti of the Atma in the Antakarana. But the role of that vritti is only to destroy the ignorance which is covering the Atma. So that is why this Avarana is so important. And Atma Jnana also is not any production of new Jnanam or anything. Anything if you say Atma Jnanam is production of new Vritti Jnanam is transient, correct? It cannot then be there forever. It cannot leave a forever effect. That is why those who talk about Jnanam as some new Jnanam which is produced and Ajnana as Abhava and all, they will have problem. Okay, because Vritti Jnanam is transient. So then how do we say that this Atma Jnanam is permanent, is Nitya and all that? Because there we are talking about every Jnanam is really only Ajnana Nivritti, Ajnana Nasha. And Ajnana is a covering, we have to say. It is the Avarana. So Chid Avaraka Ajnana. So the Ajnana, which is the cover of the Chaitanya, to know the Chaitanya as it is, that cover is destroyed. And then what? Tesham Aditya Jnanam Prakashayati Tatparam, and all Gita also says, correct? Ajnanena Avritam Jnanam Tena Muhyanti Jantavaha. Then Jnanena tu Tadajnanam Yesham Nashitam Atmanaha Tesham Aditya Jnanam Prakashayati Tatparam. Gita is very clear, and there Bhashyakara also gives a very interesting meaning. When we say Ajnanena Avritam Jnanam, that Avritam Jnanam is not Swarupa Jnanam. Understand that. There Bhashyakara gives the Bhashya as Viveka Jnanam is covered. Okay, the Viveka Jnanam means what? That means the discriminatory knowledge about Atma. The knowledge of Atma as Atma is not there. Proper knowledge, that Viveka Jnanam is covered. And why is he saying like that? That is because that Viveka Jnanam also is only Antakarana Vritti. Right? It is the Akhandakara Vritti. See, once we accept that this Atma Jnanam is a Vritti Jnanam, correct? It is Mano Vritti only, that he explicitly states in the Chandogya Bhashya, Sambandha Bhashya, if you take, there is a very beautiful discussion about what is the difference between Atma Jnanam and Upasana. Because in Chandogya Upanishad, first 5 chapters are all mostly only Upasana. Okay, only the 6, 7, 8 is Atma Vidya. So Bhashyakara starts the Upanishad with a discussion about what is Upasana, what is Atma Jnana. In that, the Samanya aspect is what? Both are Manovritti, but there is a difference. Okay, so he talks about that there. So if Atma Jnanam is only a Manovritti and Manovritti is transient, how can it leave a result which is Nityam, like Moksha, etc., if you say? For that, we have to have an answer, correct? And also, once you say it is only a manovritti, it is manokarya really, correct? Because manovritti is nothing but a manovikara. It is a modification of the mind. And every vikara of any karana, correct? Like if you say ghata is a mrid vikara, correct? Or mrid vritti, you can say. Ghata is nothing but a mrid vritti or a mrid vikara. But what do we say in the Ghata Bhashya? Bhashyakara is very clear. Ghata is potentially present in the Mrit already. Okay, but if Ghata is there in some other form, then the Mrit is there in some other form, the Ghata Akara is hidden there. It is still there potentially. Okay. But it is not manifest. So, any particular vritti of the mind essentially is an avaraka of all other possible vrittis of the mind. Is that clear? That's how we have to understand. It goes along with the Gata-bhashya also beautifully. That means all the manovrittis you have in your life, they are all actually, in one way, they are propagating only ajnanam, correct? And samsara. And they are also potentially hiding whatever the akhandakara vritti is there in each and every mind also, we have to say, correct? Akhandakara vritti is potentially there. Then only you can even make an effort to bring it out, correct? Like even in the Gata Bhashya, Bhashyakara is arguing, unless the pot is potentially present in the mrit, nobody will even make an effort to make the pot with the mrit, correct? If the pot is not at all present in mrit, who will make any effort? You can never bring out the pot then, correct? That means potentially something has to be present already, even for you to make an effort to bring it out, to make it manifest. So all creation is nothing but manifestation. All destruction is only again unmanifestation and all that. Like that he argues beautifully. So if you bring that argument here, Akhandakara Vritti also is hidden. It is covered already. It is there potentially in each and every mind, in each and every antakarana. This Vritti, the possibility of that Vritti is there. Potentially this Vritti is there. In fact, this Vritti is already there in Ishvara, we have to say. Correct? Nothing is newly created because everything has to be there in the Sarvajñatvam of Ishvara. Understand that. If Ishvara is Sarvajñaha, Atmajnanam also is included in Ishvarasya Sarvajñatvam. And therefore already all Jnanam is there. All things are there. So any particular manovritti also is nothing but it has to align with the Sarvajñatvam of Ishvara already. It is there. The Atmajnanam is there in Ishvara Upadhi already. In your Upadhi, it is there potentially, then we have to say. But it is covered. And that covering has to go away. That is what is the Vrittik Jnanam. All it does is what? By itself manifesting, it destroys in the process the ignorance. And then whatever is there is already there. It is just shining. It is just revealed. That is the way we have to understand any knowledge. Okay. No knowledge is newly created. In fact, my Guruji used to give the example of the sculptor. So, the sculptor goes by the roadside and sees a stone, correct? And he's already seeing Krishna in that. You don't see anything as a normal person. Because when the sculptor is sculpting, he's not creating a new Krishna or Rama there. He's only removing whatever is covering Krishna or Rama, which is already there in the stone, correct? So, like that, anybody who comes to learn from you, they all already potentially they have the knowledge. The teacher is only revealing whatever is already there. At best, you can say you are not able to remove their ignorance. It's not that they cannot know. You are not able to remove their ignorance. That much you can say as a teacher. Anyway, so here this is a very important aspect. Siddhavaraka ajnana nashakatvam eva ahankarasya. So the ahankara is taking part in the ajnana nashana, which is covering the chit, but it is not really lighting up the chaitanya or anything. So natu chit bhasakatvam svataha eva chitaha bhasamanatvat. Chit is anyway shining, correct? Tesham aditya vajnanam prakashayati tatparam. Like that Gita also says that. So in this manner only we are talking about this. Therefore what? Tasmat sa bhasa eva ahankaraha chid avaraka ajnana nashanadvara chid abhivyaktikaraha bhavati. So in this manner, this ahankara itself has to have chidabhasa to do all these things. And the chidabhasa, through that only, by manifesting a particular vritti in itself, this ahankara destroys the ajnana and becomes the chid abhivyaktikara, means it reveals the chaitanya. Okay. So therefore what? evam chid bhasyaha api ahankaraha chid pratipalana grahana dwara chid abhivyanjakaha sarva vishaya avabhasakascha bhavati iti saeva jnata. Okay. So in this manner, what it is the one which chid bhasyaha means it reveals the chaitanyam, but that is only through the chaitanya which is again reflecting in it. Okay, chit pratipalana grahana dwara only it becomes a chit bhasya, not by itself, and in that manner it reveals the chaitanyam as it is chit abhivyanjakaha, and also it is the one which reveals every other object also by, because if the manas I said correct, if it is antarmukha it becomes, it can manifest the akhandakara vritti and reveal the atma. If it is bahirmukha, it has all the vishayakara vritti and then it reveals the vishaya also in that manner. And in this manner, this ahankara alone can be a jnata, and that too only when there is the chit pratipalana, when it is there. Ahankara by itself is not a jnata, but when the chaitanya is manifesting or reflecting in the ahankara, then it becomes jnata, sayeva jnata. Okay, once we say this word, nacha ahankara prakashakasya atmanaha ahankara vengyatvam na sambhavati iti vachyam. Okay, see, ahankara prakashakasya, so that which is the prakashaka of ahankara itself. Okay, the chaitanyam is the one which is lighting up the ahankara, we say. Then how can you say that that atma itself now becomes revealed by the ahankara? Correct? Atmanaha ahankara vengyatvam, how can be there? Okay, it cannot be there. Na sambhavati. Like this, the Purvapakshi is opposing. We say that you can't say that. Why? Hey, because we give a couple of examples here. Chakshuf prakashakasyapi suryasya chakshur bhasyatva darshana. Okay, so if you accept our Vedic view, we say that there is a adhishtana devata for every indriya, and the adhishtana devata only is operating in that indriya and making that indriya function as it is, correct? And Surya is the devata for chakshush, and through that you are able to see the Surya itself, correct? So with Surya's blessing only you are able to see Surya. So this is, you have to accept. Or the other, if you want to give a more mundane example, not get into Adi Daivikam and all that, we say that what Surya Prakashitasya eva darpanasya Surya Pratipalana Grahana Darshana. So this all, I also said this, correct? The mirror itself is revealed by Surya, but mirror can still reflect the Surya also. There is no problem in that. And in that process, it is revealing the sun, we can say. Correct? Even those who are not able to see the sun directly can see the sun in a mirror. The mirror itself is revealed by sunlight, but in the but since the sun is reflected in the mirror, the sun is also revealed by the mirror, we can say. There is no dosha here. So Atma bhasyena manasa Atma vedyate iti tvaya api abhyupetatvat cha. So you also accept that the mind which is lighted up by Atma, in that through that mind only Atma is known, because they also have to accept manasa eva aptavyam and manasa eva anudrashtavyam. All these shrutis are there. They accept that shruti, in fact. So you are also accepting it. Why are you asking me? Okay. So further what kincha sarvatra sannapi atma antakarane eva upalabhyata iti antakaranasya chid abhivyanjakatvam. So even the further what, see, atma is there everywhere. Even though it is everywhere, it is manifest, or it is available for recognition only in the antakarana. Therefore, the antakarana being a chid abhivyanjaka is not, like I even said, correct? This again we can bring in the light and vacuum and all that here. So in a vacuum you cannot know you cannot see the light. If you are an observer, you require something there for it to reveal the light also. Like that we can take this. So the antakarana is required as a upalabdhi sthana. In that manner it is a revealer, we can say. Also what apicha atma antakarana pratipalitaha sanneva swapara vishayaka Vishesha Jnanavan Bhavati iti Chid Abhivyanjakatvam Antakaranasya iti Sarvathapi Sabhasa Ahankaraha eva Jnata iti. Okay, finally we are summarizing what. See, Atma becomes revealed, or it manifests in the Antakarana. It is Pratipalita. It is reflected in the Antakarana. And after that only what, that being the case only, everything is lighted up then, correct? Whether it is oneself as Ahankara or all the objects which are out there, Swapara Vishayaka, Vishesha Jnanavan. So the Vishesha Jnana is there about either about oneself as a subject or all the objects. Only when this Antakarana and the Antakarana Pratipalita Chaitanya being there. And in that manner, the Chid Abhivyanjaka, it can become, okay, the Antakarana can become the Chid Abhivyanjakam. And in all these cases, Sarvathapi, Sabhasa Ahankaraha eva Jnata. In all these cases, the Ahankara is the knower. Okay, whether you know yourself or whether you know the objects, and that's what we conclude. Okay, once we conclude what, even now there is a problem. Yaduttam Ahankara Anubhavayoho Swa Abhava Virodaha iti tadapi ayuktam. Okay, so now Ramanuja, the Vishishtadvaitins are saying Ahankara and this Anubhava or samvid, they are having Swabhava Virodha, they are saying. They are opposed to each other. Then how can one be the revealer of the other and all that? Okay, but that is not proper. Why? Ahankarasya Jadya Swabhava Satvepi Anubhavasya Nirdharmakatvena Swabhava Abhava. See, one point he is saying is Ahankara is having Jadya Swabhava, but Chaitanya is Nirdharmaka, we say. It is Nirguna. Therefore, how can the Nirguna, Nirdharmaka Chaitanya be opposed to anything? Okay. In fact, it doesn't have any Swabhava by itself. This is one way we can put it. Or we say, no, it is Jada, this is Chaitanya, like that if we take also. What we are saying is there is no Virodha. Why? Because Editu Ahankarasya Prakashyatvam Swabhavaha Anubhavasya tu Prakashakatvam Swabhava iti uchate tarhi tayoho Swabhavayoho nasti eva Virodha. Okay. If this is not the case also, if we look at it in another manner, where we say that what Ahankara is lighted up and Atma or the Samvit is the one which is lighting it up. Okay. So Anubhavasya Prakashakatvam is there, Ahankara is Prakashya. Even then what? There is no Virodha in this. You cannot say there is a Virodha. Why? Prakashakena hi Prakashyam Prakashyate. So that which is lighting up, by that only something is lighted up, correct? Like Deepena Ghatavate, like even the pot is lighted up by a lamp. And here you cannot say that lamp and pot are having any Virodha. If they are having Virodha, one cannot light the other up, correct? So, Nahi Deepa Ghatayoho Tejas Tamasoho Iva Asti Virodha. See, only between light and darkness there is Virodha. There is no Virodha between light and pot. And here the Prakashya Bhava can be there because there is no Virodha between Ahankara and Atma. It is a relationship like between light and pot. So, Nahi Tejasa Tamo Bhasyate Kintu Nirmulyate. So, the other point is what? Darkness is not lighted up by light. Basically, it is destroyed by light, we say. There is Virodha, but not between light and pot. Therefore, what? Tasmat Prakashya Prakashayoho Ahankara Atmanoho Nasti Swabhava Virodha. So there is no Swabhava Virodha between Prakashya and Prakashaka. So whether we look at it as Swabhava or Swarupa, in both ways, there is no Virodha. That's what we are concluding. Okay, Swabhava Virodha is not there. Or Napi Asti Swarupa Virodha, because in one case one is Nirdharmaka, and therefore there cannot be any Virodha there. Only two Sadharmaka things can have Virodha Dharma. Okay. So Swarupa Virodha also is not there. Suryena Rahuhu Iva Samvidah Eva Atma Avarakam Ajnanam avabhasyate iti uktatvena. Okay, so this is what we are saying. Even the Atma avaraka Ajnanam is lighted up by the Swarupa Jnanam only. Like even the Rahu is lighted up by the Surya, we say, or even the clouds are lighted up by the Surya. The clouds which are lighted up by the Surya only covers the Surya, correct? This is the example we give. I think this example is given in Atma Bodha or somewhere also. Correct? This is a very nice example. The sun is not opposed to the cloud, and sun is revealing the cloud, but whatever is revealed by the sun only is covering the sun now. That is the beauty. So, like that, this Atma Avaraka Ajnanam, the Ajnana which is covering this Atma Chaitanya, Samvit, itself is revealed by this Samvit only. There is no opposition there. Only the Vrittik Jnanam is opposed to Ajnanam. That's why we have to say Swarupa Jnanam cannot be opposed to the Ajnanam. Therefore, what? Tat Karya Ahankara Dehe Samvidaha Samvid Avabhasyatvasya Ka Katha Iti. Okay, so if it is not opposed to Ajnanam itself, how can it be opposed to the Ajnana Karya like Ahankara, etc.? They are all revealed, they are all lighted up by this Samvit only, and there is no real opposition or Virodha. Okay, so the Virodha argument also is done. Finally, what? Yadapi Uktam Vyangyatve Sati Atmanaha Ananubhutitvam eva bhavet Ghatavatiti Tacha Ayuktam. Okay, the another point they are saying is if Atma is manifested or revealed, if you say, then it cannot be a samvit or anubhuti anymore. It will become ananubhutitvam will come. Okay, for Atma. Like Gata, it will also become Jada like Gata is their argument. Okay, if it is the one which is revealed, means that is not true. Why? In fact, they themselves argue that anubhuti, swapara, they argue, correct? They say that it has to reveal itself and reveal the others. Then only you can say that it is anubhava. The anubhava itself is known only if it is able to know itself and know the other things. That is their argument. So now they are going against their own argument and saying that it will, if it is revealed, it will now become jada. So that's what we are pointing out. Anubhutehe ananubhavyatve anubhutitvam eva nasyat iti swavachaha virodhat. So you only said that anubhuti has to know itself and others. We are actually arguing for only lighting, correct? The Atma, when we say Swayam Jyoti, it is simply lighting like sun. It is not that it is lighting itself up and all that. That is our argument, in fact. So they actually argue the other way around. Now, if they are saying in their own argument, they are saying if that is the case, it will become Jada means what? They are going against their own argument. So, in fact, we say that Swamate Atmanaha Vedyatvasya Abhyugagamacha, and they accept Atma is to be known. Manasa Eva Aptavyam and all that. They also accept that. And Asman Manarityatu Pariharaha Ukta, and we have also explained how this Manasa eva anudrashtavyam, Manasa eva aptavyam and all, how it should be understood. We have explained it according to our Siddhanta also. There is no problem. So don't bring this argument again. And finally, what? Yaduktam Ramanujena Karatalasya Ravikara Rashmi Pratihati Dwara Tad Bahulya Heduttvameva Na Vyanjakattvameva iti Kritva Ravikaranam Swa Abhivyangya Karatala Abhivyanjakatvam Nati iti Tadayuktam. Okay, Ramanuja also says in one place, I think, or similar to what we talked about Darpana, we say that Karatala, when the sun rays are there on your hands, on your this whatever the hands, correct, the palm, etc. Then what we say that it is a the sunlight is revealed by the palm itself because it is getting reflected from there, correct? But now they are saying there is no Venjagatvam or revelation. It is only that the sunlight's Bahulya is there, means it gets, because the hand is stopping the sun rays, the sun rays get collected there. Okay, there is a Bahulya. Adhika. Bahulya means Adhikyam, correct? So this sun rays, lot of sun rays are there in the hand. That Bahulyam only it is there, but not this, because the sun rays are blocked by the hand. You cannot say that hand is revealing the sunlight, etc. So there is no, that the sun's Rashmi, the Swa Abhivyangyam, okay, between the Ravi and the Kara, one is getting revealed and the Karatala is the one which is revealer. Like that you cannot say. This kind of relationship is not there, like that Ramanuja is saying. That also is not proper. Why? See, even everybody accept that not only hand, you can extend it to Bhutala, or you can extend it to Darpana, so many other places. Everywhere, then you have to say the same thing, that only Bahulyatvam is there. There is no Venjagatvam. Again, this is not correct. Okay, so Kimiti Karatalaravate Bhutalasya Ravikara Rashmi Pratihati Dwara Tad Bahulya Hetutvam Nasyaditi. So, what are, if you say that, then it will extend to other places like Bhutala, and in fact, it goes against our current scientific knowledge also is there, correct? As I said already, one cannot see light in a vacuum. You require something for it to be revealed. So that can be considered as a revealer. There is nothing wrong in that. Okay, it is the one which manifests the light, you can say, like the dust particles in the atmosphere is the one which is manifesting the light rays for us. There's nothing wrong in saying that. It is not just Bahulyam and all that. It is not just, it is making the light more, etc. So this is the, finally we have finished this topic. In fact, the last argument is leading to the next topic, correct? Ahankarasya Chid Abhivyanjakatva Upapattihi. So how can Ahankara be the Chid Abhivyanjaka? How can it be the one which reveals this Chaitanyam? How can Atma Jnanam even be talked about? Okay, that we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरुजी.
Om.